What's up, everybody? So, another day of truly boring news from the Supreme Court. Well, apparently there's been more bundle trouble and some arguments over whatever. But frankly, I nearly fell asleep reading it, and I won't put you through that. So instead, I'm showing you this meme. Not taking credit for this meme, just did find it, created it on my own, but not me. I didn't do it, alright? So, but still very relevant, very funny. So today we're going to have a bit of Lib Dem bashing if you fancy that. And this comes from Guido Fawkes, the Order website. So take that as you will. Apparently the people's vote planning on purging the Lib Dems. It says, one unexpectedly joyous byproduct of the change of policy by the Lib Dems to ignore the referendum result today is that over at the People's Vote campaign, Tom Baldwin wants to purge Lib Dem MPs. James McGrory, the former Lib Dem special advisor for Clegg, is trying to keep them on board. Anna Soubry is saying they must be purged. So Anna Soubry of Change UK, a founder member of the People's Vote, has sent an email attacking the Lib Dems' new position. She argues, simply to revoke Article 50 without a further referendum, as my Lib Dem colleagues believe and have adopted as their policy, is simply wrong. Dressing up the policy in clever semantics about hypothetical and fanciful situations are lost on an electorate tired of politicians playing politics and not being honest with them. The Lib Dem policy of revoke without a referendum stokes fears that they have not learned the mistake of tuition fees, that they will again say one thing to win a vote, but when in power will do something very different. The British people need honesty and clarity, and we are clear we need a people's vote with a responsible deal versus remain on the ballot paper. If voters choose to leave, then at least they will have given their informed consent to Brexit. So it appears after years of pushing to cancel the 2016 referendum, it turns out there is a line some Remainers don't want to be seen to cross. And the Lib Dems seem to have crossed that line. It goes on to say, over the course of today, a number of fellow second referendum supporting MPs have also come out to attack Swinson. That's Joe Swinson, the leader of the Lib Dems. Including the Independent Group for Change's Chris Leslie and Green's Caroline Lucas, who launched a blistering attack on the Lib Dems' new policy, saying, in another article, Remainers turn up on the Lib Dems. Caroline Lucas is quoted as saying, Brexit referendum didn't deliver the outcome many of us hoped for, but you can't pretend the result didn't happen. Lib Dems are doing just that. You can't turn back the clock, nor ignore the 17 million who voted leave. This doesn't strengthen our democracy, it further imperils it. And before we go on, I'd just like to point out that Tom Baldwin of the People's Vote campaign has denied any of this. But there you go. So the question here is about the second referendum voters. So those who want a second referendum, where do they go? Can they now support the Lib Dem policy of total revocation? And if they can't, are we saying that Remain is now too split to be effective? What do you think? Leave a comment below and we'll get back to you. Anyway, I've got a minute or so. I will go through this article from the Daily Record. This is from somebody who's clearly very angry with the Lib Dems, but I thought some of the points that were made were quite interesting. It's called Why the Lib Dems Were the Chief Architects of Brexit. So the Liberal Democrats announced this week that if they win a general election, they'll revoke Article 50, thus cancelling Brexit. The pledge suggests they might be taking liberties with the word Democrats, which is absolutely true. Neither Liberal nor Democrat. I'm sure you'll hear that a lot in the news. Well, not in the news, in the forums. According to party leader Joe Swinson, a general election win for her is as good as a people's vote. All well and good until you consider the reaction across the country. If she ever was to attempt such a reckless and undemocratic manoeuvre. Apparently, leaving the EU will be so bad for our country that they are willing to risk social unrest by preventing it. So again, that social unrest idea coming up again. Pity they didn't feel that strongly when they got into bed with David Cameron nearly a decade ago. He goes on, so I am editing this because it's quite a long article, but have a read of it if you fancy. He says, let's have a quick recap of how useful the Lib Dems have been in power. We got the 5p plastic bag charge and a referendum about voting that nobody voted on. Okay? I'd just like to point out here as well, as Anna Soubry said, we are all this author seems to be forgetting about the tuition fees. That was a major issue, and I don't think they're ever going to recover from that. Okay, he goes on. Anything else? Yes, that's right. The harshest welfare reforms ever seen. A vicious programme of cuts rolled out to pay for the greedy bankers. If as many Remainers had taken to the streets with witty placards to oppose austerity as have to prevent Brexit, we mightn't be teetering on this constitutional cliff edge in the first place. History shows that populism of this sort we now see across the UK gains traction in conditions of economic humiliation. The Lib Dems were chief architects of Brexit because their fingerprints are all over the events which preceded it. I'd be more inclined to support them if they had a plan for tackling this problem at the root. Instead, they have chosen to create a political diversion, all so they can get into power and advocate the very same economic and political outlook that got us in this mess. The Lib Dems have no plan for the country, no analysis of why we got here, no contrition about the role they played in fertilising the ground for the far right. The term liberal means different things depending on who you talk to, so I'd like to personally thank Joe Swinson for clearing up the confusion. Liberals are the people who will steal your purse and then help you look for it. So, obviously a man with an axe to grind, and he's grinding that axe on the Lib Dems. Is this a bit too harsh, or is this what you agree with? What do you think? Comment below. Thanks for watching the video, guys and girls. Like, share, subscribe if you appreciate what we do.